We are back here and it is 7 o'clock. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So Carmen, if you would like to read us our introduction to the remote board meeting.
Great, thank you, President Bethner. Hello and good evening. As the moderator of the Port Angeles School District remote board meeting, I would like to welcome you to the June 24th, 2021 Board of Directors board meeting via Zoom. This meeting is being presented remotely for all attendees. Items to be mentioned before we begin is that this meeting is open to the public and it is recorded. You can listen to all past board meetings by visiting Board Docs through our district website. If you have any comments that you would like shared with the Board of Directors, please email Jenny Wilson, the Executive Assistant to the Superintendent, at jwilson@portangelesschools.org. There will also be a portion of the meeting reserved for community comments. Agenda items will be addressed as listed in the agenda. If you wish to share comments, please use the Q&A button located at the bottom of the Zoom conference window. Submit a brief summary of your non-agenda item or the correlating agenda item number, along with your name, and wait to be called on. When it is your turn to speak, your name will be called, your mic will be enabled. Before making your comments, please state your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes to speak, after which time your mic will be turned off. Video will not be enabled during the time. Accusations, foul language, other verbal abuse will not be tolerated. If you do so, you will be asked to refrain from using such language. If you continue to use inappropriate language, your mic will be turned off. If you have any concerns about individual district employees or specific complaints that require administrative response, please contact the Office of the Superintendent directly. Thank you, and back to you, Madam President.
Thank you very much. So that takes us to roll call, and all board members are present with the exception of Jacob Wright, who has been excused from this meeting, which now then takes us to the flag salute. So if you'll all join me in saluting the flag. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. All right, so that takes us next to acknowledgement of tribal lands. Director Kelly, would you please lead us in that?
We acknowledge that we are on the indigenous lands of Coast Salish peoples who have reserved treaty rights to this land, specifically the Clam tribes. We thank these caregivers of this land who have lived and continue to live here since time immemorial.
Thank you, Cindy. Okay, so agenda. How does the agenda look?
Great.
Look okay?
It's good. Thank you.
All right, great. So that takes us to our consent agenda approval. What says the board?
Director Kelly moves the consent agenda as presented.
Director Marks seconds.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So we're going to go down now to distribution of correspondence.
There is none for this meeting.
Okay. So, Kira Acker, you are up with the May financial report and our final enrollment.
All right, good evening, everyone. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Sorry, get a little bigger here, but it's not wanting to go. Okay, can you believe we're already looking at May's financials? It's amazing. There we go. So, we at the beginning of each month, Wendy pulls together the enrollment, and then usually we present. We're just wrapping up and making sure that enrollment is all posted correctly, and so sometimes some of the numbers change. So these are pretty much the numbers that we're going to see. I will present in our final year-end look. We'll look more closely at enrollment and what related and that kind of thing. But just for preliminary numbers here, we're at 3,350 for head count. And, you know, as you know, last year we were at 36 at the end of June. So head FTE was right at 3,277, which was up about 6. So once the, you know, the last part of the school year came about, we really didn't see a lot of fluctuation. It would kind of between headcount and FTE, it was pretty, you can see those red bars there that are pretty straightforward, straight across. So we're just going to see where our enrollment goes next year and plan as well as we can. Looking at our budget status reports for all the different funds, there really wasn't any movement, just interest that we received in our debt service. ASB, they're wrapping up. They were wrapping up. This is May, so they have another month of some of their fundraisers and expenses for their year-end activities. So that will fluctuate a little bit in June, but no change in transportation vehicle fund. In general fund, we are, you know, this is one of the lower months. June will actually be even lower in our apportionment. I think this month was at 5% for the apportionment for the year, and in June it's like 2.5%. So it'll go a little bit lower, and we'll see those in the fund balance slide. But that's why our fund balance is low, 3.1 this month. Capital projects, we continue to build on our revenues, and we did receive a little bit of additional taxes that came in May after the big April allocation. So currently at 5.8 million in capital projects. So looking at the comparison in materials and supplies operating costs, we are up a little bit this year from last year, and that's just supplies that we've been purchasing, computers, different items we're getting ready for next year. And the majority of that balance that you see, or that increase, has been paid out of ESSER funds. So with the program, the breakdown for program expenses, you know, I always look at what we're spending in each program, and then really down at the bottom there, the object codes. You know, here we haven't spent much in capital all year, so that's, I always look to see what have we spent in capital. And last month we had our purchased all of our Chromebooks, and then we continued this in May, bought a few more laptops and some network pieces that went into capital for technology. So that's that 33,000 that you see. It's not a normal number this year for you to see those that capital outlay out there. So it's mostly technology.
No.
Now jumping back over, my slides were a little bit out of sync there, but going back over to the comparison, this is for salaries and benefits. We are up a little bit this year over last because of the additional planning time that teachers are receiving. They're starting to be paid for that in April and May. Some of the transition planning, and those two have been paid out of ESSER dollars. So that's that increase that you see. And then breaking down general fund with our revenues and expenses, you can see we received another $500,000 in taxes, which puts us right at our budget and the predictions for the year, which is that I budgeted and figured we'd get about 5.597, and we were just a teensy bit over that. So, and then you just see our balances and our encumbrances of what we'll continue to purchase through the end of June and July. And again, like I mentioned, with our fund balance, we know it's going to dip to the lowest here in June. And then we'll start climbing back up as we receive more reimbursements for our just all of our different apportionment allocations from the state and federal government, which they have that the schedule that we were just bound to. That's how they give it to us. So we've watched that as we dip in June and then climb back up to that 4.2, my projection at 4.2 ending fund balance. Anyone have any questions for me?
The only thing I'm concerned about is the lack of enrollment. So Marty, what do we think it's going to look like when we go back in the fall? Is it going to be there 3277, or do you think it'll be closer back up to 35?
Yeah, that's the $100 million question. We're by board action, we're budgeting for 3235. That's what we're building our budget off of. The numbers look encouraging at the elementary level, but not at kindergarten. Our kindergarten enrollment numbers still remain really low. So we're being, as you know, we're being very conservative with regards to hiring staff. We're hiring staff that must be hired, but for instance, at a building, if we have 3 kindergarten teachers with 30 kindergartners enrolled, we're not hiring another grade level in that building, so that if we need to, we can move that 3rd kindergarten teacher to that other grade. So we're being very strategic around who we're hiring and when. I am concerned, for our kindergarten enrollment. It is somewhat lower than what we've seen in previous years, not last year, but in years prior to last school year. So we will continue, and the principals and Michelle are doing a really good job of documenting actual students returning. But the key, as we all know, in July and August, what are the move outs? We know who is potentially coming back to school now, but we don't necessarily know who's going to leave our district and move to other parts of the state or nation. So if I had a crystal ball, I would guess that we will be in the 3,300 to 3,400 range. That would be my educated guess. And that's, I'm trying to be optimistic. But the numbers are looking better than they did mid-year. So we're all over it. And Michelle and myself and cabinet continue to look at that nearly daily, and we're going to be very conservative of hiring back staff so that we can make good long-term choices here. So that's the best I can give you today, Director.
Thank you. That's good.
What about our transitional kindergarten? Has that gotten any more forward momentum?
So I have a number, but I'll be wrong. Michelle, what's our actual number for transitional K?
So as of today, we're up to 14, and we're accepting applications all the way through August, and we have another screening scheduled in August.
And remember, we have 48 seats there.
That's amazing.
And so,
I'm really amazed about that, because if the question of childcare is so horrendous in this town, that's all you read, that's all you hear. Why aren't people jumping at this? Michelle, do you have any ideas?
Well, a little bit. I mean, the criteria for the state in order for a child to be part of the program is really clear. Like, they have to be 4 by August 31st of this year.
Yeah.
They have to not have any access to preschool or, Head Start. And there has to be a documented need. So one of the things, we screened 19 students the first day, And out of those, we had 12 that qualified. We had a lot of children coming to us where when we did the screening, they already met the standard for like coming into kindergarten, and that's not who we're looking for. So yeah, we're just continuing to get the word out with the navigators and with people working for the community. But we'll fill it up. We're just gotta get people's attention.
Yeah, and I want to add to that, typically, historically, for the population that will benefit from this type of, potentially the population will benefit from this type of programming, we end up with late enrollees. Even at kindergarten, you'll see late enrollments, with regards to registration for school. So we believe we're going to fill the seats, and it's really important to create the positions. And kind of, if we build it, they will come concept. We're going to continue to push it hard because we believe in equity, and this would be a critical step in moving in that direction. So we'll continue to monitor that. Right now, all 4 of the positions at each of the 4 elementary schools that will be hosting a transitional K program have been placed. We have placed teachers in each of those positions. Again, we will have some flexibility in August around if enrollment numbers don't come in at any given grade, we'll be able to make some shifts that will make sure that we're being efficient with our dollars.
Thank you.
And in talking to my other colleagues at some of the other districts in our, on the peninsula and in the area, that this is what they're all seeing. Kindergarten is kids are slow to register, and both in transitional kindergarten and regular kindergarten. So it's not just us. I think, parents are they don't know the system yet, and so they're maybe putting it off a little bit, maybe leery, there's lots of different reasons. But when you're putting your baby in school for the first time and don't know what to expect, they're maybe just, so it's common across the area. So.
Okay.
Okay.
I had one question.
Sure.
I haven't checked, but have you looked into there was that recent census, or have you looked at the American Community Survey to see if it has any indication as to whether this kindergarten population in town is smaller than it has been in years past or not? Sometimes that can be a little bit of a indicator as to whether a kindergarten is going to be a big year or a little year. So
yeah, I will look at the birth rates for that year. I haven't looked, but we have it's not been a good indicator for us because we have such a fluid community. People don't stay often as long. And so, if children are born here in town, it doesn't usually give us a good indicator of, once they're 5. So I haven't relied on that data just because I haven't seen a lot of, clear patterns for that. But I can check into it for you for sure.
thanks.
Sure.
Okay, anything further? If not, then we're going to move on. Thank you, Kira.
Thank you.
Oh, so we're going to go right into our action items. We're at 8.01, approval of amendment to superintendent's contract. Have a motion?
I move the amendment to the superintendent's contract, Director Long.
By Director Kelly.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? No.
I'd like to discuss.
Yes, Dr. Long.
I just want to publicly thank Marty for an outstanding job. We're so glad he's here. We hope he'll stay forever.
And my comments is that, as we go down this road, as we've tried many years to do a capital bond with no luck. And if we continue this levy thing for 20 years, 25 years to get these buildings replaced, it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time to get this work done. And though this is a lot to be put, a lot more to be put on a superintendent's plate. So I want to thank Marty for the work he's done, the committee he's brought back together, and sharing the information with the public. I think that's so important. And I'm sorry my screen's off, but my internet connection is pretty weak tonight. So
Mine too, Cindy.
that's why I'm having my screen out tonight. So anyway, but yes, I just appreciate all the work that Marty's done, and that we continue to build those relationships throughout our community.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. So I'm going to call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sounds unanimous to me. Okay, so that takes us
President
on.
Metzler, President Metzler,
Yes.
can I say one thing?
Please.
Thank you very much. We make a good team. Board of 5, team of 6. Thank you so much.
All right, yay. I think everybody agrees with that. So let's move on to 8.02. Approval of the second reading of policy 2165, home or hospital instruction. Do I have a motion?
Director Long moves policy 2165.
And do I have a second?
Dr. Kelly,
Director
second.
Marks. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Katie.
Okay. So is there any discussion around this?
Nope.
No, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. That takes us on to 8.03, which is the approval of the adoption of the second reading of policy 4217, effective communication. Do I have a motion?
Director Marks moves.
Director Kelly, seconds.
All right, any discussion around this one? No, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sounds unanimous to me. All right, moving right along, we're going to hit 8.04, which is approval of the second reading of policy 2410, high school graduation requirements.
Director Kelly
Director
moves.
Long moves it.
Okay, moved by Director Long, seconded by Director Kelly. Sounds right to me. So, any discussion around this? No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 It's unanimous again. Just going to take us to 8.05, which is approval of the second reading of policy 6620, special transportation.
Director Marks moves.
Director Kelly, seconds.
All right. Is there any discussion around this?
Nope.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sounds again unanimous. We're going to go then to 8.06, which is the approval of the second reading of policy 6630, driver training and responsibility.
Director Long moves 6630.
Director Marks seconds.
Moved and seconded. Do I hear any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Again, unanimous. All right, so that's going to take us right into community comments on non-agenda items. Carmen, do you have any community comments come in? Or-
Nope, not at this time. Thank you, President Becker.
Okay, so that takes us to Board of Directors comments. Let's go ahead and start with Dr. Long. You're the first face I can see, so let's start with you.
Well, I guess the one thing I wanted to report on is that the Port Angeles Ed Foundation met for the first time in our building. And we're very excited to be back together, as we will be soon. And they were very grateful for us letting them or choosing them as a community partnership. So I just wanted to mention that. And equity plan. I did speak with Kara after we saw the learning plan for next fall, for next year. There are some measurables in there that the state is wanting, and it may be that we can use that list to bring down the big list to have those particular classifications be the ones that we measure. So I'll be bringing something back to the board as soon as I hear from the tribe, and you'll be looking at a kind of a different document to review. So it'll give us something. Still, we've got something to work on, and I appreciate everybody's input. Cindy and Sarah and Katie have all had input into this, individual input into it. I appreciate all that, and I'll bring another something to you that we can start chewing on and hashing on and seeing what we can come, where we're moving. So thank the board for that.
Excellent. All right. Katie, you're the next name that comes up on my list.
Nothing to report. The only thing I wanted to say is I just really enjoyed the graduation ceremonies that we were all able to attend, and super appreciative. And it was definitely just this magical moment, right? It's incredible. So thanks. That's all.
Okay. Director Kelly.
I've been attending many OSPI, Office of Native American Education subcommittee meetings where we're talking about data, we're talking about CEDARS, we're talking about legislative issues, government to government consultation. There's a lot of work groups. So anyway, I'm looking forward to when all that comes together and we share that through our networks. And I attended 2 WASDA nominating committee meetings. We're in the middle of conducting interviews for candidates for offices, and probably by mid next week, you will see an announcement. We have our committee, we have more interviews on Monday, and then we have the committee meets again next Tuesday. And love the graduation parade. And you're right, Katie, the graduations were fabulous. The retirement celebration was great. I just wish more people would have attended, but I know everybody's really busy and it's really hard when we get to the end of the year. I attended Tribal Leaders Congress on Education meeting with tribal leaders. We had a great conversation about consultation and government to government. And then I attended the WASDA COVID-19 weekly meetings and the PAB school board candidates, the WASDA equity with a divided community webinar, and I shared that information with Marty, and hopefully he could give that to the board in Friday notes. There was some great information there. And then today I attended the WASDA annual conference planning committee. So just FYI, the conference will start on Thursday, and that will be the pre-sessions for anybody, early birds. And then Friday will be the general session, and Saturday will be the breakout sessions. There will be nothing on Sunday this year. So, and right now, until the governor makes a different announcement, they're talking about that they would have to have 2 different sessions, one upstairs, one downstairs, because of the limited amount of people that could be on each floor. So they're still working through that. I would like to think about nominating our, they're still looking for some entertainment. I think that our latter group up at the high school through music would be fabulous to submit their name and a video to have them be performing at an annual conference. So I'll talk to Marty about that, because I'm not real familiar with the band teacher or the who's in charge of music at the high school anymore. So, but many years ago we had our orchestra go there, and they're looking for some different stuff. So anyway, but yeah, it's going to be different. There's not going to be as many breakout sessions as there's been in the past, so it's going to look a little different. And you'll see a lot of things about equity, about the pandemic, about health and mental. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a different conference, I think, you guys. So we'll see it on. Stay tuned for more when we have another meeting.
Okay, thank you. Then I guess I will just chime in. I've pretty much gone to everything that everybody else has gone to. The retirement dessert, I agree with you, Cindy, that it would be nice if it were better attended. I was thinking how we could make that so maybe if we didn't have it quite so late, but whenever the cutoff date that we have set for people to submit that they're retiring, maybe put it kind of around that area a little bit earlier than the exact end of the year. I don't know. It was just a thought I had. I went to also I was very impressed that 4 out of 5 of us were at the PABA, including Superintendent Brewer. I thought that was a very good showing and I enjoyed it immensely. I think we have some really strong candidates and that makes me very happy. What else have I done? I've just done really what everyone else has done, the graduations and I've interviewed, here's one thing. I did interview, Sandy and I interviewed for our next year's student reps. And so those names will be presented at our, I guess, to be approved at our July meeting. But so yeah, that was always, it's always fun to talk to the kids. And we were very clear that we are looking to them to be sort of our window into what's going on. And they both seemed like they were up for that challenge, the 2 that we interviewed. So that is about all. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Superintendent Brewer.
All right, thank you. Just a couple of things real quick. One, really good news today. Our 7th grade team that are part of the technology or TSA Nationals, and they created those projects that we learned about earlier in the year. The team of Lizzie Shaw and Becca Manson at Nationals, not state, but Nationals, placed first place.
Ooh.
Just got that information today.
Excellent. Excellent.
So, congratulations to those 2 students for representing our community very, very well at TSA Nationals, and we'll get information out to the community on that. Also want to thank the advisor, Gunnar Thompson. I want to thank Christine Spalding, Dan Lieberman as co-advisors, and also Kristen and Zane as principal support to make that happen. Our STEM programs, our CTE programs, moving down to the middle schools are paying dividends. That's a new concept for our district, and it's a great opportunity for our students. And just as we've seen with their showing at Nationals, very capable, and we continue to invest in them at younger grades is a good choice by our school district. So congratulations to each of them. I do want to alert the board that there is a strong potential that I'm going to ask for a special meeting between now and probably next Wednesday. And it will be an executive session as it relates to sale price of a piece of real estate. So, we have CSB up for sale. There is some movement on that. And so we may have a special board meeting in the next few days after we work with the attorney. So more to come on that. And been hard at work, just preparing for next school year. And also I think all of the employees that have been out the last couple of days, and Steve Methner and his team, the playground is phenomenal, beautiful. The colors, the schemes, the zip line, it's been a lot of fun. And so I appreciate all of the employees of the school district that have committed some time over the last couple of days, and will continue to do that through the weekend, including our president. Thank you very much. And it's going to be a great addition to our community.
It really is. And we have had just really phenomenal turnout from our community. We've had, Superintendent Brewer has been there. The John Henry has been there, I think, every single day. We had the whole Gunderson family was out all day yesterday with their little kids. It was just everywhere I looked. Jared's been out a few days, our tech director. It is everywhere I look. It's somebody from the Port Angeles School District. And it makes me so proud to be part of that. So.
And others in the room, and we won't hit it all, but others in the room that have been there. Jenny's been there, Carmen's been there,
Absolutely.
Michelle's been there, Scott's been there.
God's
Kira's
been there. Yeah.
So yeah, so I appreciate everybody coming out and helping. And I was kind of joking yesterday, if I could get that many people out to my house for one day, imagine what your yard could look like.
Ooh. Yeah,
So,
how do we get that? I want to be a day of caring. I volunteer to be a day of caring.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all I have to report this evening. Thank you.
That's great. So that then, wow, we really did zip through this, which I knew we would. Is there, so we need items for next week, I believe is
Yeah.
next
So
meeting. I mean, not next week, next meeting.
No, not next week.
a big announcement at the July 22nd board meeting, which will be Thursday, July 22nd, 2021. It will be hosted at Lincoln Center in room 208. Regular session starts at 7 p.m. It will be in person.
Marty,
So-
I'll be out of town that week.
Okay. So it will be in person. At that meeting, we will review the June financial report at this point in time. The working out the logistics around kind of a hybrid model that's still required by the state. Even though we're in person, we still have to have a virtual option. And as we found, the Zoom and the hybrid just simply don't work. They're not cohesive. So what the plan is now, and we'll keep building to make it better. But the plan is now is we'll be in the boardroom, we'll have in-person, we'll have spectator spaces available, and we're gonna live stream it. And so we'll have a live video camera feed, which will mean, we won't have the engagement by way of Zoom. So we're going to go to a plan, at least over the next couple of months, that if somebody that's going to witness the board meeting by Zoom and has an interest in a public comment, they will need to submit that public comment to Jenny 5 o'clock the day of the board meeting, by 5 o'clock the day of the board meeting, to have that read in a public session. So that's how we're going to do that. If somebody wants to come out to an in-person meeting and do a public comment, they can do so just in a regular routine of board protocol. So right now, that's what we have planned, and we'll continue to massage that, make it better experience for all involved, as long as we still have the requirement of the virtual. So, but it will be in person, and we're excited to do that.
So Marty, the meeting in August, I'm in Spokane, and I'm hoping I can call in.
Yeah, we'll have the conference phone, Cindy.
Okay, thank you.
How about the 22nd? Do you need the conference phone then as well?
Nope, I'm gonna be at a birthday party, 99th birthday party in Vegas.
Okay. All right, that's all I have.
Terrific. So with that, then, I think we are done. So I thank everybody for coming to this very quick meeting, and we will see you all middle of July. Marty will be very well rested, I hope, by then. And
Thank you.
with that, I end this meeting.
Night.
Night all.